Whatever became of Arno Stark, the true son of Howard and Maria Stark, the long-lost brother of Tony? Well, let's hop into the pages of Tony Stark Iron Man issue number 5 and find out. Alrighty then, so as we join the comic, we check in on the recent events of the Maria Stark Foundation, a charitable fundraising arm of the Stark Empire completely independent from everything that Tony does. Which, considering how often Tony loses control of his company and his fortune every few years, that's probably a good idea. Once the Foundation was put together to hide the very existence of Arno Stark from the world, but now he's running it and trying to use his great big brain to help those in need. Like a famous concert violinist who lost his arm in a car accident, or a sun-parched Sudan area that greatly needs grain. Yes, it seems that Arno Stark doesn't have a care in the world. Moreover than that, he's trying to make up for a lifetime of bedridden sickness as a child by seeing the world and testing his mind. His latest challenge, though, has taken him to an ethical beef ranch wherein the farmer has managed to genetically manufacture what he calls completely guilt-free meats, essentially animals that are barely alive but taste just like steak. It was a good little racket for a bit. He's got a hell of a cloning facility. The only problem is that maybe 1 out of 5 of these creatures ends up going nuts and has to be put down. Arno's pretty impressed by everything the rancher is doing. He's put a lot of really interesting science at work here. The things are born into the world, react on animal instinct, and have small microchips implanted in their brain, so they're at least smart enough to walk around and remember to go to the bathroom every so often. Which is why it's so confusing that these things are freaking out. They have no personalities, they're barely even smart enough to feel pain, yet they're most definitely feeling pain. Arno isn't stumped for long, however. It's around dinner time he has a horrible realization. You see, those microchips are actually managing to get onto the ranch's Wi-Fi. And while one of the creatures is definitely not smart enough to feel pain or anger or anything like that, taken together as a herd, they form a sort of hive mind intelligence. And here's the scary part, that doesn't stop even after they're dead, meaning when everyone sits down for a nice steak dinner, they feel that. Ooh, bet you wish you're like me and you ordered the fried chicken, am I right? The creatures rampage all throughout the ranch, killing everyone they come across in a trampling spree. You think Arno's gonna step on in to help people, but he doesn't, instead choosing to save himself. Well, I mean, that doesn't look good for him, but it's not necessarily evil. It's not like he has a suit or superpowers or anything. It was his life or theirs, and he just chose his. A cleanup crew was hired to deal with the creatures and the dead bodies. You would think Arno would go to his brother Tony for help, but he doesn't. Instead, he goes to his rival, the woman who's been hanging out on the periphery of these stories. Well, alright then, that's certainly suspicious, but again, it's not necessarily evil. Arno and Tony have a tense, complicated relationship. Maybe he didn't want to bother Iron Man. Oh, but this next stuff is evil, though. You see, Arno decides to wine and dine the lady business leader, and we get to overhear his phone calls. You see, all those scientific miracles we saw him pulling off throughout this issue, turns out they come at a terrible cost. That violinist whose arm he replaced, that wasn't just any arm, that was the arm of a woman in the other car that he killed while texting and driving. That wheat he planted, yeah, the people tried to plant more of the same stuff and it ended up sucking up all the moisture in their area, leaving them with a worse drought than when they started. That means Arno is quite literally playing scientific God. He giveth but he taketh away twice as hard. And now we see him trying to undercut his brother Tony by forging a business relationship by this woman who already has it in for Stark. And it's on that ominous note right there that the comic ends. So that was Tony Stark Iron Man issue number 5, everybody, and overall I gotta say this was a really strong little one-shot. I can definitely say I wasn't reading Iron Man during the Kieran Gillen years when Arno Stark was first invented, but I don't think anyone was weeping either when he fell off the face of the earth. And while comic books may already be filled with the whole evil, long-lost brother trope, Dan Slott definitely spins this guy in an interesting direction. He's more than just a dark inversion of Tony Stark Iron Man, he's something else and something more terrifying. Tony in the comics, and especially in this series, has always been about using science and technology to help uplift and better people's lives. Arno does more or less the same, but he feels people should earn getting uplifted, and when they don't meet his criteria, well, he punishes them for it, and that's really damn scary stuff. In fact, this whole issue has a whole Black Mirror horror vibe to it. I ultimately ended up really enjoying this one. I give this an 8.5 out of 10, and I'm interested to see where the Arno character is going to go in the future. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out some of these other videos I have available from the channel. And hey, you know what, if you're in a supportive mood, you can also check out my Patreon link down in the description. Patrons get exclusive access to videos and content before anyone else, and you can do so for as little as $1 a month. So until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back again next time with more comic content that smacks of greatness. Bye bye everyone.